sounds like your world leader.
And we're live.
Hey. Hey,
What's
Yoey.
up, Mithril?
Welcome, lads, lasses, and NB badasses. Here on the Alchemy Bitch. This is, of course, me, Summer and the Geek, with the straw hat on. And over there is John Brockman. And we have our regional reoccurring guest on the show, our oldest dirt northerner, Mithril. How are you doing, Mithril?
I'm not so bad. I'm wondering how much worse my country can actually get.
You've seen our country, so
It can get 7 worse.
Oh no, we're taking several steps worse than yours already. The latest is Pritla Patel's scheme to ship refugees to Rwanda. Anybody who comes across the channel trying to get into the UK, regardless of whether they are a legitimate refugee or not, will be shipped to Rwanda, which is in the Eastern Rift Valley of Africa, and has a really, really crappy human rights record, of course. And if they are successful in their application for refugee status, they won't be allowed into the UK. They'll be allowed to stay in Rwanda.
She's a wonderful person.
She's you wonder where so much hate actually comes from, you know, especially since her parents themselves were immigrants. So
Yeah, but she did it the right way. She got colonized and then came over.
yeah.
or she came
Yeah.
here first and got the power, and then like changed the rules after the
Yep.
fact.
And we're also, joy of joy, the country is now being run by a convicted criminal.
John Brockman, did you put a photo of Keir Starmer over on Mithril?
Yep.
Well,
Kind of surprised you
this is
recognized
synchronized. I listened to a lot of the. How can I recognize Keir Starmer by listening to him? No, I actually Google searched his image one time when we had that hangout years ago after Keir Starmer's first year as the leader of the Labour Party, as it were. Because Jeremy Corbyn, cool dude. I like him as a Labour leader, as it were. But unfortunately, the rest of the Labour leadership,
the centrists
Yes.
sabotaged him by being anti-Semitic and then claiming he was anti-Semitic.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah. I watched something. I can't remember what it was. I watched a documentary about that recently, and it was just like, God, when you think it just can't get any worse, it somehow or other it actually managed to. And the centrists, the Starmers of this world, are keep using Jeremy Corbyn's losses in 2017 and 2019 as their. Well, look, this shows nobody from the left can ever win elections. Well, if you hadn't been telling every soddy newspaper in the land that they were anti-Semitic, he might have stood a chance, mightn't you? But
we have several problems of Bernie Sanders is unelectable, as it were, or that's why you got to vote for Biden, because he's electable, and it's just
And then you have an actual leftist winning the primary in one place, I can't remember where, and then the Democrats themselves.
hold on a second. Hold on one moment.
no problem.
The Democrats themselves staged a write-in campaign against the person who had won their own primary.
Yes, that was in Buffalo, the city of Buffalo in New York, as it were. And it's just you're trying to like a manufacturer of the consent of like how the leftists can never win elections if you keep on doing that, or like when Nina Turner was trying to like win that special election to fill in that like congressman seat in Ohio because that congressman went to like the Biden's administration, and it was like all the outside money was pouring into like the Democratic Party's competitor to like Nina Turner as it were, and unfortunately it was close if I remember correctly, but it looks like it didn't like win and that much, and so it's just like no they just like constantly sabotage like everything as it were.
And it looks like the same thing is happening again, doesn't it, in Georgia? She's trying. Is it Nina Turner again trying in Georgia? And
That's Stacey Abrams.
oh, Stacey Abrams. Sorry.
And I don't think it's this time though. I don't think the left is also like, or no, the Democratic Party, I should say. The left would like encourage Stacey Abrams to like run and be elected as well, because like Brian Kemp in Georgia is the illegitimate governor of Georgia because of like he actually just like dumped a whole bunch of like ballots and like took voters off the voting roll because he can do that as lieutenant governor as it were, no, Secretary of State. He's in charge of elections as Secretary of State, and like yeah, he just like stole the election in 2018. So Stacey Abrams is like trying again, but like she got the support of the Democratic Party as it were, because like she seems awesome in my book, but like I'm not sure how far left she is or how much of a threat she is to Democratic leadership as it were. So again, they engage on that.
Well, she is a black woman, which means that she is farther to the left than they are.
True, yeah.
But Dan, we thought the same thing about Kirsten Sinema. So
Oh, good lord, yeah. Cinema is
the worst.
she's certainly going to end up in
What's wrong with the sound? I don't know. Like, can you not hear the rest of us? What happened?
Oh, sorry.
You should be able to
Joey.
hear me, and they should be able to hear you.
So Joey, maybe check on your end. It's like something because I sometimes like make that mistake. It's like, oh wait, it's the error is between keyboard and chair. That's a much better one than the IT 10 error. But still, you have to like even with IT 10 error, you have to figure it out. And hopefully you can hear us, Joey. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be increasingly difficult for people who are. It's going to be made increasingly difficult for people who are progressive and Cinema's just going to walk into some god awful lobbying job, isn't she? So,
yeah.
Probably
She's going to get jobs on the boards of various corporations and never have to do any actual work.
Yeah,
I think she actually went to like committees and like to Europe and like trips like doing just that, essentially courting the donor class as it were. So it's like, yeah, I bet that's what she's buying for. Absolutely.
I mean, do you actually think she went into politics thinking this is going to get me on the gravy train for life? I will never have to work again.
I don't know.
I'm sure some people actually believe that, but like I mean, the thing is, like, I don't know if Kristen Sinema until like this until 2021 because of like how she voted against a $15 minimum wage. And so, like, I this is where it's just like, in retrospect, I have to go back to like learn about her, like how she was like some kind of like activist in like her early days in college.
The steady driftwards as rightwards as we get older. Apparently, I've gone more to the
the
left.
steady drift rightwards as you get richer.
Yeah.
Yes, or like, well, yeah,
I've drifted into communism.
Yeah.
I drifted into communism too.
I drifted towards anarcho-communism. Yeah, probably says something about me, but I mean, I would say 20 years ago I was probably liberal, left-wing liberal-ish, but not very. But I've got progressively more and more left-wing because it's the only way to deal with these buggers, isn't it?
Yep, exactly. As 5 years ago, it probably would like say I'm a liberal, or not sure what I am. If I did say that,
10 years ago, I was cheering at the West Wing.
Oh God, the West Wing. The West Wing was liberalism porn, as it were, because
Mhm.
just like you just have to have faith in the system and everything would work out, and it's just like uh, so is so speaking of like your country, Mithril, and sorry that you're not in the EU anymore, you're not part of Europe. Is
Couldn't
Boris?
resist.
Yes, I couldn't resist. Boris Johnson.
Oh,
Is he getting in
Okay.
trouble with the law?
yeah, it's turned out that after he told us all that we had to be in lockdown,
Mm-hmm.
um, him and his staff decided they wanted to go to have a few parties in Downing Street, and
Surprise
cameras.
party.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know it was going to be a party. I just like walk in there and they surprise a party landed on me. That's what happened.
he was. Hey, I'd say he
Yeah.
was.
Right.
He was CC'd into emails saying, "Bring some drinks," and then has expressed shock and surprise that these things were actually parties, and has been and for once the Metropolitan Police have actually done something, and they have fined him, although it's probably only for the 50 quid fine, but it should be a damn sight more.
Given that he's Alexander Boris DeFeffel Johnson, he
Oh yeah,
probably has enough money, even if it was a $250,000 fine. Let's be honest.
oh yeah. Well, this was the man who, not long after he became an MP, became prime minister, rather, complained that the 160,000 a year was just chicken feed. So you know,
He's a swell
but
guy.
it, on the positive, it does mean, unlike your Mr. Trump, he actually does have a criminal record now. So,
Mhm.
but that means it just means we're being
Well,
governed.
well, our president just gets away with stuff.
Yeah,
That's our justification.
It's,
The
yeah, unfortunately.
prosecution of him in New York is basically dead.
Mm,
They got a new DA overseeing the thing, and then the people in actually doing the work, resigned, which is an indicator that the new DA said, "Yeah, we don't have a case here," and they protested by quitting. But the 1-6 Commission in Congress is still rolling merrily along, and people are getting charged with that, and they're working their way up the ranks. I think that the president might actually face some fallout from that. Not just political fallout, but actual criminal charges. Given that there's 8 hours missing from the phone records that they turned over. The 8 hours that
Yes,
were from the
they
start of
said.
the riot to the end of the riot.
oh, jeez. Yes, Data Portal. Hello, welcome, Data Portal. And hello, welcome, Joe. Hello, welcome, everyone. And hello, welcome, Isaiah. I see your shirt says Canada.
How's it going? Yes, it does.
You don't have to. You now are reminded of Canada every time you look at your shirt. Yeah, that's a good point. Like Data
Well,
Portal.
there Canada. There is maple syrup they still have.
Until climate change kills all the trees.
Hey,
Yeah.
Emily.
Hello, Emily Chambers. How are you doing? Hey, people is here as long as batteries are allowed. Oh, okay. Yes, batteries not included. Movie I have not seen actually. Was like an next one is where damn it, okay, this is at the beginning of the show, like 13 minutes in, already my mind is blank about like what to say or what to say next, as were. I guess maybe
Apparently, there was a blockade of the east entrance of Disneyland or Disney World yesterday.
Oh, really?
Where? Who? Who and
People
why?
protesting the fact that Disney is not happy with the Don't Say Gay bill.
Oh,
for
that's
goodness
right.
sake,
But
yeah.
here's the thing about like that Disney because this is a problem with like capitalism as it were because like yeah our fascist party of the Thucklikins are just like again bringing up the like the gays are pedophiles those sort of thing which is why they need to connect gay with
Well, they have
groomers
Amy
as
Coney
were.
Barrett on the Supreme Court, then they're going to roll back Obergefell. They're going to roll back, eliminate Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, yeah. So they're soaking up this like so kind of resentment thing, which is like, yeah, it's someone like, oh yeah, Matt the Nerd Skull on Twitter. He said like, I'm he's a gay man, but it's just like, don't think that like just because like the marriage bill got passed that like the gays are safe as of where don't have to the gays don't have to fight and for their rights at some of this. No, it could easily come back. But he was also like an anti-gamer, so like of course this is where our Venus Candace answers to Celine Dion.
That's funny. Well done, David, as always.
Do you think that if Roe versus Wade gets overturned, there's gonna be like riots in the street?
I don't know about riots. There's definitely going to be massive protests.
Yes, I can imagine like some a
And
lot
they'll
of
be
civil
a little
unrest.
bit more subtle. Probably, what's his name? Chief Court Supreme, the Chief Justice, Roberts, is going to, when the case finally gets to the Supreme Court, you know, like the howler monkeys are going to just say, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and make abortion illegal. And Roberts is going to say, look, if you want me to sign on to this, you're going to have to be more subtle than that.
It's
And they'll
just
say,
struck
we don't
me,
care.
talking about this, it's just struck me that Keir Starmer looks like a slightly older Matt Gates.
Oh my god! There's a
I won't
difference
stick
in
you with
what-
his mug anymore. It's,
Thank God. He's going to put a Liverpool slide, but I know you.
you
I'm
do,
surprised
in
that you
fact,
gave-
know me. That's the picture I just sought out and downloaded.
but that made me. I was kind of like, okay. It's time you gave Mithril Keir Starmer. I wonder how like Mithril feel about that because we know how Mithril felt about Liverpool. But back to the story about like the blockade at like Disneyland and Disney World. I guess that'll be like Disney World because that's in Florida.
It's the one in Florida, so Disney World, and they're doing it in
Yes.
support of Ron DeSantis. They blockaded
Yes.
the east entrance so that nobody could get in or out. They just, parked their, probably not trucks, but cars. Probably a lot of pickup trucks in there with truck nuts. You know those.
Oh yes, of course.
Oh, God,
Um,
yeah.
America.
Where the
but-
hell did that truck nuts thing come from?
No idea. Somebody is a complete asshole, and he understood that other people are also
Dude, they'll-
complete assholes.
Yeah, they'll think that's
yeah.
funny and like not look any deeper into it, or they know that's like, oh yeah, that is the point. It's just like this is my manhood here, and complete with the nuts, as it were.
To quote the Shrek movie, do you think he's overcompensating for something?
Truck nuts began appearing in small numbers as custom-made scrotum sacks in the 1980s. The earliest known store-bought
God.
truck nuts appeared in the late 1990s, but remained limited in number. However, their popularity surged in the mid to late 2000s, and truck nuts became well known throughout the United States, even featuring on national television shows.
I've never seen them in this country. Never seen them. Thank goodness.
No,
Did you guys hear
thing
about
is,
the
because
ship that
England
got
is
sunk?
obviously a hellscape of communism, they'll be banned. Probably. They'll call it a knife crime.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
hear
No,
about
we
the
have
Russian
our
warship
problems.
that was sunk?
what do you say, Isaiah?
Did you guys hear about the Russian warship that was sunk?
Yes.
No. Oh, I haven't.
I heard something about
Yes.
that. The thing I saw said that something special was on there that sank with it.
Yes, there was a small piece of the
The cross. The true cross. Yeah, right. Definitely actually.
Many years ago, somebody did a calculation on the size of the true cross based upon all the pieces of wood that actually claimed to be the true cross. And I seem to remember it was about 300 feet high by about 300 wide.
Well,
It
in
was
one of the
something
apocryphal
ins-
Gospels, there was a 300-foot tall talking cross as Jesus' sidekick. So,
Of
there you go.
course. Well, there you go. I mean, that's proof. Yeah, no,
So
the
was
mosque.
Jesus 300 feet tall.
The Moskva is or was rather, the flagship of the Russian fleet. It's a missile delivery ship, effectively. And yeah, according to the Russians, it sank because of a fire and some ammunition blowing up. But according to the Ukrainians, it sank because of some basically missiles. So
Mhm.
whoever you want to believe.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like it's kind of like yeah, I don't know what the, like I think about that. It's because like part of me is just like okay, fine. Do you believe people believe those sort of things? So that's fine, so long as it doesn't affect me, I guess. I'll just like, oh no, I don't know what the important thing that I need to be concerned about or know how to relate to like world events and stuff like that. This important piece of like, why do I care? Why do I care? It's like Celine Dion is Canadian already. Yes, exactly. Emily Chase, hey George B. That's the joke. Exactly. I mean, Canada's already apologized for Brian Adams several times, as we already know. And Limpy, I'm not surprised that the Truck Nuts have a Wikipedia page because, like, what doesn't have a Wikipedia page? Like, actually, I should not answer this question because there are some. I mean, I think like certain wars like have like a short Wikipedia page, but like the Transformers Wikipedia page is like much more massive than a lot of of world.
Well,
events.
they have a very long publication history, so like,
It's a war. Now it's like hello David, yes, now back to Disney and what has happened. I think that the blockade is like similar to like, at least it seems to be smaller and it's not like as massive or shutting down like actual like intersection or major governments as like the trucker convoy in Canada that happened. And yes, Isaiah, you can like sing like some Avril Lavigne since I mentioned Canada.
No, I'm not.
But like but yeah, this was brought up the weeks a couple of times on It Could Happen Here podcast. That's sort of like they constantly go on about like the Republicans going after the queer people and the trans people as were like in Texas and in Florida. And unfortunately, yeah, Disney, while Disney's not really like pro-gay. I mean, the first canonically gay character they put in the movie, the Fluff, was in the live-action Beauty and the Beast. The character literally named the Fool, and
It wasn't
was like,
Frozen. It wasn't Anna from Frozen.
no, not
Anna.
It wasn't canonically.
Yeah, Anna and Elsa never actually hook up in the movie, dude.
they're sisters anyway.
Yeah, that's not going to stop people.
I know that's not going to stop people. Absolutely, they have the same face, though. Come on, they have the same face.
Well, that's just because they're cartoon characters, and cartoon characters have one of two faces: the girl face or the boy face.
I thought Elsa was cute. Honestly,
both of them are cute. Yeah,
They're designed,
but like
to be cute.
had a major crush on one.
Agreed to Port Doll. Disney is pro-gay for money. It's rainbow capitalism. And besides, like they always coded their villains anyway. Like the octopus from like a Little Mermaid as just one example that came to mind. The Scar, exactly.
James Somerton, who is a LGBTQ filmmaker on YouTube, did a really good piece about queer coding and queer baiting in Disney movies.
Oh, yes.
It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, LaFleur being like the first openly gay character, that was just queer. It's clear. I said queer there. Clear queer baiting there, as it were. Because like Council of Geeks like years ago did a video about that about LaFleur, but also like Lando Calrissian in the Solo movie LaFleur.
Of course, yeah. And Ursula being modelled on a drag queen on Divine, wasn't it?
Yeah, because Lando Calrissian, according to the writer of Solo, a Star Wars story, says that like Lando Calrissian is pansexual, when we never saw that in like Solo at all. We never saw that.
Well,
anywhere.
there were hints of it. What's her name?
Yeah.
L3 said that Calrissian was in love with her. He may have been wrong about that, but the way he responded when she died, it's maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, correct, Dicey.
Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah, so well, that's goes so all the way back to like Wicked Witch. Yeah, look at that the bitch and tell me that she's not like packing.
No, she was obviously Ace. Otherwise, she wouldn't have died when she got wet.
Mm.
Oh, and that's true, Lynn P. That all the characters look the same in like Galaxy Quest 999. Yeah, I like Leishin Matsumoto's like designed his like designs are very unique. If like no other character designs look similar to like Leishin Matsumoto's as it were, but all of his female characters and all of his characters look the same too, which is kind of a problem. Walt Disney, a company founded by a fascist, is not LGBT friendly. My shock. That's
Well, they have made some moves in being more LGBT quilty friendly.
Yes.
In recent days, I think it's because the CEO's kid is trans.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Once it finally personally affects you, then like there you go.
No,
But
the
then
heir
again,
to
also-
Disney is what it is. There we go.
Okay, the heir to Disney. But then again, also like Dick Cheney also has a lesbian daughter too. But like so, now
I mean, it pains me to say it, but to be slightly fair to them, I have seen posts from LGBTQ people who actually work for them who say they're really good in that respect. They're really
their
good at looking
employees.
out, to their employees.
Hmm.
Oh, their film's fucking awful, you know. Because we've got a pander to China.
yeah.
So everything
Exactly.
gay,
Yeah.
when they do put something gay in, it's small, it's in the background, and it's something that you can remove the entirety of their gay content by deleting 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Exactly. But like there was also about like queer and LGBTQIA plus like workers that like Disney did like stage walkouts on Disney because Disney did actually fund and support the Republican like governors and senators and politicians in like Florida, in Texas, in those sort of things. Because unfortunately, the Disney is just like any major corporation, cat, loves the tax breaks that the Republicans give to like businesses as it were. So unfortunately, it's capitalism. So it's
Oh yeah.
like
Well, the thing is, they also
absolutely.
give money to Democrats.
true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You donate big money, you get a sit down with them. And that's why the rich and corporations and so on rule the country.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yep. That's why we are in oligarchy. I
By design.
still have not
So
gotten.
basically,
Go ahead.
Speaking of which,
Hmm?
Speaking of which, is everybody enjoying the Melon Husk throwing a hissy fit about not being allowed to buy Twitter?
I had not heard that he
mean-
wasn't being allowed to buy it.
Yeah, no, he's been the board of Twitter have told him we're not letting you buy it, and he has thrown a massive hissy fit about it, and it's really quite funny.
I actually got into it with David Silverman, hence the title of the stream.
Ah,
He retweet. It was just like the worst use of Twitter. He quote tweeted someone who quote tweeted someone who quote tweeted someone who quote tweeted someone. It was just a long, incomprehensible chain, licking Elon Musk's boots and saying, "Yes, the rich to save us from the woke, right? To save free speech from the woke cancel culture, right?"
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, so I went back and forth with him a little bit. He was just a condescending prick the whole time, naturally.
So is Bill Maher. Bill Maher's that way
Mm-hmm.
too.
But
Or as I
apparently,
call him, Bill
when I
Manure.
reminded him of his sexual assault allegations, he got really butthurt by that. And he went on like a long tirade on Twitter that I didn't see until just now when I went to look back at the chain, remember exactly what it was. But he posted over and over and over again yesterday. Just hashtag things wokeists never say. Me, 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 me.
They're really this whole woke thing is really kind of
It's just
funny
another
because
distraction.
it's but I mean to me woke is just showing compassion and ordinary decency to other human beings.
Mhm.
Listening to and learning from people who have different lives than you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
We,
so
we have a governor here in Florida that just signed a don't stop woke act. I don't know.
That's right. That was the actual
yeah.
They had
lines.
to work really, really hard to get that acronym.
I had massive flashbacks yesterday. I watched a video. Oh God, it was incredibly amusing. But he prefaced it by saying, "And all the Sci-Bis and the SJWs will hate this. My take on this." I'm like, shit. Have we gone back to 2016 all of a sudden?
Yeah, probably. Is that
Actually,
Mr.
more like
Enter?
2008. It just keeps on going.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
broke.
so-
Remember how they went after Steve Jobs?
No, it was it was an astonishing video. It was by a chap called Father Augustine, putting not his real name. I hasten to add, putting a Christian spin on Elden Ring, and it was just like, it's based on Celtic and Nordic mythology, you muppet. But it was.
Maybe he believes that like those cultures are Christian secretly.
Well, probably, yeah. No, I mean it was a real. His belief was doing some really heavy lifting to prove that this thing was Christian, and of course it's horse manure. But,
Yes, there is death of the author, but just like you can't like just like inject something in it that doesn't belong. Like how like turning red is like 9/11 or something like that.
No, I think they criticized it for not mentioning 9/11.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because it's set in 2002. Obviously, you've got to spend some time talking about 9/11.
Well, let's be honest, they're not very bright. These people, really.
No.
I bet
They had the joke, though.
Yeah, that's it. They have the joke. I bet like they here it's like much more qualified to criticize films than like Mr. Enter, the nostalgia critic, Hans, or like what is there's a lot of these like online nitpickers, as it were, just like nitpicking these like movies. CinemaSins, that's another one, as it were.
I like CinemaSins.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there, Isaiah. I like CinemaSins. I find it. I understand. He knows what he's doing. He knows he's being a nitpicky jerk, and he admits to it. But it's kind of amusing sometimes, But
I guess I never watched the channel. I know the idea of it, but I just like never like seen it. I guess like if you have like need to like make like weekly content or like regular content to like keep your videos in the algorithm and keep it up and stuff like that. And I can see how that can work absolutely on like a terrible movie or a movie that's bad or a movie that's got flaws and problems in it. But then when he does it to like actual good movies, I see people just like pointing out how CinemaSins got it wrong, as it were. And apparently, according to Deadpool, CinemaSins just like Lawrence is pretty racist. Yeah, well, I wouldn't, and I can believe that. I haven't seen him, but with CinemaSins, I can believe him being racist. I can see that. Why is it so hard to find people who care about medieval weapons and not shit politics? That's a good point, Len P. I don't know. How is it like with medieval weaponry fandom? Is it is always like fascist conservatives or like alt-right or something like that?
Because fascists love weapons.
Oh wait! They love like the Nordic runes or like go back to the olden days of Vikings and stuff like that. I see now.
Yes, we should go back to a time when women owned all property. No, wait, not that.
Well, yeah, no, I mean that's
you should wear perfume and braid your beard and put jewelry in your beard.
Right. It's a false image of what they have of like the past, as it were.
Yeah, the fascists want to go back to a fictional past, not the actual past.
on actual errors. So there's like fitness between laws, but they turn it into 20 minutes because it's better for the algorithm. This is something that like I like to bring up with people who just like are chasing the algorithm, trying to like break the algorithm, trying to like break down through and break on through the other side and get to the top of somewhere. The YouTube changes its algorithms when it wants to. It used to be like if you had like a shortened videos that get it used to be like it's views. If you get a lot of views, then you will like do well in the algorithm. So animation projects did very well with that format because like they can turn out a high quality but very short like a video as it were, and will get a lot of views because it's high quality as it were. But then when YouTube changes, they'll like no, the views is not as important. It's watch time that's important, and they'll boost up like videos
because that way they get more ads.
Exactly. And so then that's where longer videos got better, and then that's how you get like
did you just say get more ass?
ads. But it's
Advertising.
ads as were. It's kind of similar.
Yeah,
but like
going on YouTube, you're not going to get any ass that way. No.
some guys so try, and there's some assholes and terrible people who actually like use their YouTube like popularity to their advantage to be an absolute creep, as it were, to the point that like, he's got
underage girls.
yes, exactly. He you know, this guy did get like investigated by like Chris Hayes, or Chris Hands, is the word. The guy he did like To Catch a Predator. Is I didn't get to his that work with like his stuff on YouTube or researching that sort of thing.
That was always a weird show when people would To Catch a Predator, because it's like, why do we need to broadcast this live? Can we just let law enforcement do this by themselves?
It's to make entertainment, it's to make television, just like cops.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think also that's where this whole thin blue line nonsense comes from, because it's like shows like that give like ordinary people who usually have nothing else going on in their lives, like it makes them pretend like they're cops themselves, like they're action heroes.
Cops was on the show long enough that people who grew up watching Cops eventually became cops themselves. Yes, Onision, that's who I was referring to, like Emily Chambers. Yeah, that terrible asshole that like I hope goes to jail because like seems like
he's still around.
I haven't looked because like I only heard of Onision of that terrible shit that he was like doing with his like popularity and fandom to underage girls. It was abusive, as it were.
Yeah, that's the only
not
thing
the
I
only
knew
one.
of him was
He's
through
not
that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the only one, but
Yeah, I bet he's not
like
the only
I'd never
one.
heard
But
of what's her name, Laurel Bailey. Otherwise,
Oh yeah, Lorelai Bailey, yeah.
yeah.
But like so because of like the videos now have to be like longer, or watch time is what boosts you in the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, because like get more ads. That's where like people started like doing long live streams, as it were. Destiny still does this, like
God,
Deadpool does
people
it.
who do that are just assholes, you know.
Yeah,
I'm not at all
yes.
being ironic.
Hey, we only do it like once a week. They do it like the daily or something like that. Sargon too. But then Tim Pool would also
Sargon
like
is
take
still
all
around?
those. So, I think he is, unfortunately. Not the Sargon, but call it the actual historical figure, like all the way in the past. I heard his name in Dawn and everything. I was just like, Sargon the God? Oh, wait. It's historical person, not the actual prick online. Yes. But like so
choosing a name
so
like that's a big red flag.
yeah, exactly. So people who make long videos or long streams, as it were, will get like boosting the algorithm and watch time. But then they can also like cut up those streams and like make daily videos, so they have daily uploads, and those videos can still be like 20 or 30 minutes long because they're like individual segments, as it were. Now, some people do that and like they're not total shitheads, like the majority report definitely does that, but it's also they have the production behind it, as it were. But yeah, that's where it's like YouTube can change their algorithms how they want to, and that can like hurt you, as were, which is why I focus not on also my internet doesn't flag, so it doesn't say oh yeah
Yes.
You mean intersex folk or other disabilities? I don't know. Actually, I probably shouldn't say that. I don't think it counts.
It probably I bet that there's a gay bill in Florida does like mentioned that too. Yeah, Emily Chambers. That's an excellent point as well. It's just like because that whole thing. The actual song costs quasi-religious to my faith, which is why I carry my crusade against him. Nicely done. Yes, that's important crusade as well. But like, that's actually not a bad segue to one of the news stories I want to like. I mentioned, speaking of like ads, post the Destructoid article into the live chat. Microsoft is reporting putting like in-game ads in their free-to-play Xbox games. I mean, this has happened before. Does anyone remember the Matrix Online video game? Yeah, that was the thing.
Yes, I remember it.
It's at least there because they had the billboards of like, put your ad here, and it's like, okay, that's a nice realism in the game, as it were, because we're supposed to be like in the Matrix, as it were, so that would be in the real world, stuff like that. But no, they actually did put in ads in the game on the billboards, because you will see like an ad for the Jacka, which was not that great of a movie starring Adrian Brody. Because that was coming out in the theaters at the time. So ads in video games don't happen before. The most unbiased online personality you can imagine would be like name Marcus Owens.
No.
Oh, David. I have to look up all of those words to see like who you're referring to too, because like I'm not that well bred to like recognize those ones. Oh no! Who
I
you're referring
looked
to.
up Onision. He's got a YouTube or a Wikipedia page. No charges have been raised against him, but Chris Hansen has said that info he's found does show that he has a habit of, he and his wife, wife, have a pattern of grooming and coercing young people.
When you said Hanson, I just thought of the band Hanson.
No, Onision.
Onision, the terrible ass YouTuber who grooms little girls, and Chris Hansen, who is investigating Onision as it were. But yeah, he's not the only one. Pig Puncher Alexander Hall had his own harem as it were, and yeah, it's gross.
That's it.
Yes, it's like polyamory is fun and excellent, okay, but there got to be open and free and like flowing and constant consent about that sort of thing. So it's just like, but unfortunately, that's what like guys think of like polyamory as it were. But then again, guys as it were.
Well, that ties into British politics as well, because a Conservative MP was this week found guilty of sexually assaulting a young boy, and subsequently resigned. Rather than I can't bring the party into shame. Bit late for that, Boyle, but you know.
The party should be ashamed anyway.
Not the Conservative Party. Not the Conservative. They have no shame.
Yeah. It's because they're not conservative. They're fascist.
Yeah, they are, pretty much. The haunted pencil, Jacob Rees-Mogg, did something today about his... did his usual... on his tweets. My brother follows him for laughs, I think. And said... Well, Rees-Mogg started his Easter Sunday with the usual, "Hallelujah, Christ is risen, hallelujah, hallelujah."
And somebody else responded, I think I saw this, yeah.
Yeah.
With, if Jesus had met you, he would flip the table and chase you around with a horsewhip.
Oh, God, yeah, he would, yeah.
Now, it is Easter Sunday, so, like, well...
Happy dead Jewish... Carpenter Day.
Happy Dead Jewish Carpenter Day. I forget. Is he a wrath or a lich? It depends on like the readings you take of it, as it were.
Well, I've been saying Happy Ostrata to people, which is the pagan version.
Oh yeah, the spring festival, as it were, of like fertility. Yeah.
Yep.
Also Ramadan and Passover this weekend too, or around this time. So it's just like all the holidays. So convenient.
Easter took place on the Passover. That's why.
That's true. Yeah. Of course, the Christians can never have anything original.
It needed to pass over itself.
Yes, Jordan. My high school PE teacher was. Both of mine were ex-army, and they were the most awful thugs you can imagine.
Thank God, thank God my PE teachers weren't like that. They were just regular jocks, I guess. So I was like, I don't know. One of them actually did. No, he was actually a German teacher, but one of them actually did participate in like the Iron Man, as it were, a couple of times. So no, he was also the cross country coach too, but like it was primarily a German teacher. Anyway, let's see.
I never really had a bad PE teacher.
It's a bunny's birthday. Yes, exactly.
Jack Monroe is great, and she's really awesome. So good for her.
Mm-hmm.
The Haunted Pencil is a hard right Catholic.
Is he one of those guys who hates what's his name, Francis? Considers him,
Yes.
not a real pope.
No, he's an apostate. I had to struggle with that one, but yes, Francis is an apostate because he supports
Not killing gay people.
What was it called? Humane Vitae in '69 or something. The Second Vatican Council, where they said maybe we should try being nicer to people.
So the Haunted Pencil, I still love that name you gave Reese-Mogg. It was just like,
I'm guessing
Wow.
that's common there in Britain.
We also call him the MP for the 18th century.
Want to go back to the fictional time of the 18th century, as it were. Your gym teacher called you a pussy once before I was the way you're running. Wow, it's just like,
I don't think that the Humane Vitae is what you think it is, Mithril.
No, it probably isn't. I might have got it wrong.
It's a letter written by Paul VI.
Oh no, it is wrong. It was Second Vatican Council anyway. That was what I was thinking of.
And this is the most Catholic introduction ever. The transmission of human life is a most serious role in which married people collaborate freely and responsibly with God the Creator. It has always been a source of great joy to them, even though it sometimes entails many difficulties and hardships. The fulfillment of this duty has always posed problems to the conscience of married people. But the recent course of human society and the concomitant changes have provoked new questions.
Good grief.
Hey,
Later. Great to see you, love.
Hi from the Chronically Crippled. I hope you eventually will feel better, as we're. And Lynn P also said, sometimes I want that body part. Yeah, exactly. Again, body communism, boob communism, genital communism. That's where.
It would be great if trans mask folks could just Venmo trans femmes their titties.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Bad heyday, I miss you. We miss you. Let's hope.
Sorry to hear that. So as you can see, Yuli, they've got me on as a poor second best after you.
Yeah, the British can never live up to the example set by the French.
Absolutely. Oh God, no! The French are far more fucking civilized than we are.
I mean, except for the fascism stuff that they're
Well,
doing.
no, we've got our own fascist party in power at the moment. Thank you.
Who won the election, Macron or Le Pen?
They haven't had the
yet.
follow-up yet. The second round will be in a week.
Again, like Letano said last week, it's just the first round with all the political parties. So, like, it can be voted on, but like after this round, it's like the top two vote getters will go into the second round. It's possible for like someone to win outright if they get 50% of the votes or more in the first round, as it were. At least that would actually make sense. So as the majority of people did vote for like this one party, as opposed to like the dozen of other parties that you can vote from. Unlike here, where it's like there's only really two Bible parties you can vote for, as that's who who most people vote for. It's first past
Oh,
the post
bloody
winner
hell.
take go.
Yuli, that's a long drive.
Oh wow!
7 hours?
Yes,
Eh.
7 hours driving. This like rest well. Let's rest well.
Yeah, obviously, okay, Mithril
What
and Julie
happened?
are from smaller countries, and Jonathan doesn't drive.
Yes.
I look at 7 hours and I'm like, yeah, I can knock that out. I've
No
driven
more than-
across the United States, north to south and east to west, about a dozen times.
You're used to it then, I guess.
Yes.
No more than 2 hours driving without a break, Yuli.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, France
I know
is
you're
one
not
of the
driving,
largest of the
darling,
European states, but it's the same size as a single U.S. state, I think.
Yeah, I think Texas is either close to the same size as Texas or like about there. Alaska's bigger than like France. Because Alaska stretches, or there's a tiny thin part that's like next to the Yukon Territory, and then there's like the whole mass of there, and then there's like the series of islands that go out to
The
like
Aleutians.
yep, then touch Russia
Yeah,
as
of
well.
course it is. Of course, it's hard for anybody with chronic pain that drive.
Yeah,
Mhm,
exactly.
yeah. Let's see.
Be
Total
careful.
area of
Take it
France
easy.
is 640,000 square kilometers. The area of Texas is 270,000 square kilometers. Oh, no, sorry, 700,000 square kilometers. 270,000 square miles. So, yeah, France is a little bit smaller than Texas.
Mm-hmm. And that's just one state in the contiguous United States, and then there's Alaska and like Hawaii, and then there's like the U.S. Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and then there's the U.S. territories of like Guam
The
and
U.S. Virgin Islands.
the U.S. Virgin Islands, the American Samoa. It's because, and those should have like to be either independent if they want that, or like to be actually fully states in like the United States, as it were, because
Yeah,
like.
take lots of breaks.
Because it was just like fucking racism that like kept the American territories just the American territories as were, and Puerto Rico's just getting like fucked over as were, but then again it's also like our actual states as were Hawaii.
Racism would not have prevented Cuba from becoming a state. The South really wanted to make Cuba another state back in the days when slavery was still around, because they thought it would automatically become a slave state. And so they staged like 2 different failed coup attempts. The South,
I
by
don't think the
themselves, not the
Spanish
U.S.
would
federal
want
government, but
to
Southerners.
happy about that.
Southerners crowdfunded an insurgency in Cuba.
That only makes sense with our history. What do you say, Isaiah?
I don't know if the Spanish Empire would have allowed that to happen.
You might be surprised.
The Spanish Empire did not allow that to happen.
True. Yeah.
They repulsed both of the things and ended up executing the
I
figurehead.
kind of like Cuba, because Cuba kind of like sticks a finger to the Americans because it's still communist and it's like right next door. So I kind of like Cuba, just being like fuck you to America, you know.
Yep. And we have pretty seriously been fucking them over for, well, ever since the USSR.
Yep.
Fell apart.
Ever since the USSR. Yep. Exactly.
Because even with the sanctions, the USSR kept them well funded and well supplied. And I don't know who said it, but one Cubano said, "We went to bed rich and we woke up poor."
No tankies, please.
Right.
Like USSR people,
I mean, like even like Che Guevara, which is the like venerated and like around the world as it were. And I have a friend who's actually Cuban that like it just cringes at like the thought of like Che Guevara being the savior as it were. So it's like I think he like murdered some people, which is probably that's where it comes from. Let's see, and you're probably right though, Leto, that like Germany is bigger than France, so that is a point. Still not as big as the United States as were.
Ukraine is the largest in terms of population and in terms of area.
Yeah, and that's a good point, David Paul. Dog. They couldn't like the Spanish couldn't like stop Florida, so we got.
Oh wait, no,
half of
Russia.
it, so...
Russia is the biggest.
Oh yeah, well of course, yeah. Russia is the biggest in the world, and Europe as well. And Russia is in Europe, just like England. we also mentioned that too.
I don't know if you noticed, but they have become Asian now. thanks to the war, and we have to make sure that they're of a different race than us. Turn them into Asiatic hordes.
You have no clue. Our morons decide. We're sat there after Brexit, of course, going on about. We want to become Singapore upon Thames. You do know that Singapore, whilst it's rich, is a really shitty country.
For the
Don't
poor.
you? Hmm.
Don't we
And
keep it
they
that
do.
way?
They probably will like that. They're like, we've got to stop these
I've heard
youths.
Singapore
These
is
youths
like
are being all
authoritarian.
disrespectful.
Maybe
I
it's
heard
not.
Singapore is very authoritarian. I heard.
Oh yes,
It wouldn't surprise me. Maybe it's not us.
they have
directly
laws
that
against
keep-
chewing gum in public.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Wow.
people were using it as a form of protest. They would stop up
Ah.
keyholes.
Excellent. It's like just like Dante and Cleric, someone jammed gum in the locks. But
And
but,
yeah, and you don't remember it. You guys are just way too young. But they made the news big time in the '90s because an American in Singapore fell afoul
got
of
caned.
that law. Yep.
he got
Yeah, it
caned.
was a
No, I
really
know
big
about
deal.
that because that was mentioned in like Weird Al Yankovic song of like broadcast news.
Yeah.
Where yeah, Weird Al Yankovic mentioned that story in broadcast news. He also mentioned the Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan incident, and then the woman that called off
Okay.
is like a
Okay.
husband's
Nope.
penis.
Sorry, David. Nope. Time out.
I'm in a passage where he said, I'm in a passage that said people should be caned here in America.
Why?
Well, people are
America?
caned in America, but they're caned by the
Oh, okay.
dumb, not by the government.
Cane. Cane. I thought he said caveman in America. It's like, oh no, cane. Yeah, there's some people.
Oh, we
that
also
won't,
have
like,
cavemen in America, but
yeah. Yes, no, some that want to just like use the cane against people in America, and yeah, but like,
How bad is that hurt, by the way? Getting
bad-
caned.
I don't know. I never experienced it.
you're getting hit with a rod. It depends on how they administer the caning. Remember, Raif the guy in Saudi Arabia who wasn't even atheist. He was just saying that the government was bad for the way they were doing Islam. He got caned. He was supposed to get 1,000 lashes 50 times a week, 50 lashes a week till he had 1,000. He only got the first one because apparently he was just so brutal it destroyed his health. And I remember seeing a video somebody took of the caning on their cell phone. You couldn't really see anything because he was in the middle of the crowd, but it didn't sound that bad. It sounded like somebody. But apparently, it was bad enough. I heard horror
I think-
stories.
What do you get Klingon punishments are like?
I think the cane, if it's like hitting directly to the skin, can also like break the skin too. So like it might be some like irritation there for lacerations too.
Yeah.
So
And it would be pretty brutal to your muscles as well, because the repeated impacts could actually break apart the muscles, break them down,
Yes.
and then that would cause that's called rhabdomyolysis, and that can destroy your kidneys because the muscle tissue gets filtered by the kidneys, and it can actually really damage them.
Yeah. I wonder what Klingon punishments are like.
I think they just kill you.
yeah, no, I actually no. Thing on punishment that was just like because if the sex is really rough, as it were, as like demonstrated in like that one episode Deep Space Nine with Quark's like wife, as it were, and then yeah, just like, and they do that for pleasure. Oh, supposedly for pleasure. You know, I think they do it for pleasure. Some cultures is just like the sex is not pleasurable, as it were, according to some movies, as it were. So, fictional.
Lie
races,
back and
I
think
should
of England.
Did you know that for quite a long time in the early through to mid 20th century, caning and beating as a sexual thing was called the English disease because so many public school boys grew to enjoy it while they were at public fee-paying schools.
Yeah. So in this case,
Thank
public
you, sir.
school
May I
means
have
private
another?
school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I gotta run, guys. Well, I'll see you later.
Later, Isaiah. Thank you for dropping by and saying hi and like how
Yay,
you are.
take care, Isaiah. Have a
Yeah,
good
you
week,
too.
mate.
And if anyone wants to subscribe to my YouTube channel, it's Sinister Intelligence. I have almost 100 subscribers.
Yes, we
Yep.
saw that.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well
Yep.
done, mate.
The
I subbed a while back.
Yep, the YouTube channel to Sinister Intelligence is down below in the description among the three other YouTube channels. So they'll subscribe to all those YouTube channels down below. Uh-huh.
And I'll see you guys around.
See ya.
Yeah, take care, mate.
You too, mate. Bye.
All right, we'll see.
As for the effects of caning, I googled it because I heard some horror stories about how caning worked back at the time. Those weren't really true. But Michael Fay, the college guy who was caned, received 4 strokes, and said, obviously trigger warning here. The skin did rip open. There was some blood. I mean, let's not exaggerate, and let's not say a few drops so that the blood was gushing out. It was in between the two. It was like a bloody nose.
Mm-hmm.
And that is with just 4 strokes. Singapore Bar Association states the blows are applied with the full force of the jailer's arm. When the rattan hits the bare buttocks, the skin disintegrates, leaving a white line and then a flow of blood.
Okay, let's thank you for dropping by and saying hi.
Bye,
Fuck
Julie.
off. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye.
Well, after that drive, there and back, she's probably going to need some time to recover. That's my guess.
Yeah, because it was also Flora that was driving, not Lito, of course, but
But
still.
still,
Yeah, and Flora was taking a lot of breaks as it were, but it's still that's still almost like jet lag in a way of traveling that much for that, or sitting just sitting in place for that long too. So we're
1,500 kilometers in 48 hours is a killer. You know, it really is.
I should mention the times I drove across the country. That was 15 to 20 years ago.
Hey, wait, yeah, when you were much younger, yeah, because oh my god, there was a couple of times that my parents just to save on plane trips, the plane tickets as it were. My parents drove from Washington State all the way to family in Michigan. So we drove from Washington State to Michigan. I'm sure there was frequent breaks as it were, because we had to spend the night at places in order to on along the way. But it's just yep, we did that instead of flying.
Yeah, take care, Leto.
Mm-hmm.
Take care, Yuli. Be safe.
Yep. And yes, we were talking about caning, so we'll ignore you as well. And privatizing caning, maybe.
It's been a fun packed week in the UK. We've also got a by-election coming up, which is quite important, and we've also got our council elections, although not for me.
Okay.
And it's expected that the Tories are going to get a real bloody nose in council elections, but they will dismiss it because it's just midterm blues, and sadly, it's very possible that they will be proved right, that people will vote for them again in 2024, despite everything that's happening now. We are having very serious discussions with people about having to choose between heating and eating, which is we're the 6th richest country in the world, and yet we have got people having to make that choice. It's not a good optic.
Nope.
I mean, I'm old school. An optic was something you serve drinks out at a bar with, but
what would that be made of? Optics
were made of plastic and with a spring in them, and they served a single shot out of, I think it was about 6 fluid ounces, I think, maybe something like that.
Mm. Okay, so also I thought it was like the name of like a alcohol mixed drink, as it were.
Yeah.
Nowadays we
That's
call
where
them
my.
pourers.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so let's see. I got like another news story, as it were.
Well,
It's kind of
sometimes they're
like
still
a.
called optics.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
S- yeah, it's not that supposed to like a little interesting, as it were. Just like a little like a and Zaya's not here, and this is about space. This word because like the Mars rover or like spots some like some artifacts, as it were. Basically, like
I'm
the
guessing
old
it's
like
the
a
rover that crashed because we didn't do the
yeah.
conversions right.
I was
uh,
wondering that.
Yes, but no, it's like the current rover that's on there is where it kind of like found these like images of like landing equipment, as it were, just and it did like in fact tweeted out, as were what it said in the tweet. I've been like pedal to the metal, like focus on my drive in the upcoming Delta, but I also spotted a few interesting things along the way. Look closely, you see parts of the parachute and the capsules I rode in on. Definitely wouldn't have been where I am without them, as were. Ah, so look at that. Yeah, finding the things that we left behind, as were.
You do realise this will be misinterpreted by the conspiracy theorists as showing proof positive that because uh, they're they are desperate. They're desperate to see. Um, I mean, it's like there's a wonderful photograph showing some shadowing of some description. I don't entirely know what it is, but they call it the Martian gorilla, and it's just like, oh, come on,
I
guys,
have
you
to see
know?
what they think is the Martian gorilla.
Oh, it's really interesting. It's I mean, it's interesting. It's like the people who see evidence of buildings on the moon. It's fascinating stuff, and when you look at them, you kind of go, yeah, okay, I see what they mean, but
Mm-hmm.
It's a big rock.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
It's just a giant rock, and yeah, Limpy, I'm good for good optic solidarity too. Glasses with contests like wearing like comrades. Yes, exactly.
David. After yesterday's result, I wish they damn well were.
Liverpool FC is on Mars.
I wish they were. They beat my lot yesterday.
And that's right. Yeah, the meme you posted on the YouTubes is where is like does bring up another case. I think it's in Tennessee or where, but like they did the Republicans in that state or one of the states did like pass the bill where just like now you can marry anyone of any age, as it were, if I remember correctly.
No,
Because
there was an amendment put in to put it at 18.
The U.S. Various states have laws that allow child marriage with parental consent.
Hmm.
Sometimes
Oh,
they
yeah.
limit the age, sometimes they don't.
okay, yeah, that was an important thing. There's a parental consent, but still, it's just like, oh, ew, ah, oh, ew, yes.
Yeah,
They,
can you not see what's wrong about this, guys? Can you really not see what's wrong about this? They're you'll never overload. God, yes.
There are 9 states that do not seem to have a minimum age. 41 states do have a marriage age set by statute.
hey, Will, how are you doing? And yes, yes, I posted this link into like a bunch of Discord servers I'm in. Uh, Hey, we're talking about conservatives and how they like all for like people marrying children or like that sort of thing, with parental consent, of course, which is the
Yes.
important thing.
Yes, but of course,
yeah,
this means that you can get 12-year-olds getting married in Arkansas or some shit like that. Or-
yeah, exactly. Yes, that is possible in this country, in certain parts of this country.
Well, it explains a lot about Bill Clinton, no?
Bill Clinton, the conservative Democrat that like pulled the rest of the Democrats into like a right wing as were, and like he also campaigned to be like a progressive in some ways as were, but then just moved to the right once he got into like office. The same thing with Barack Obama. Barack Obama, that was just like more or less that was like stinging as it were because we felt like he was far more progressive
We
than he
actually
really
expected
was.
hope and change.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
Instead, we got more of the same. I mean,
Mhm.
I can't remember who described it. Maybe it was, but I can't remember. But somebody talked about the bankers walking into the White House looking scared, walking out with great big smiles after the 2008 crash.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here in the UK. None of them ended up going to jail for what they did.
I'm proud
Yes.
to be an American because they let me
Mhm.
think I'm free. I must
Yeah,
admit,
yeah.
I love this land. Wait, are you a Jew?
Well, we always bring this up too. Is like the founding of this country was by rich white people who like the as Joey also Joey the Indigenous Heretic also pointed out too several times about the bully pulpit the papal bull decree of the discovery doctrine where it's like if there's no Christians on this land, we can declare it in this land ours for the Christians. And if
Honestly, I
the
don't
like
think England would have cared about that. England was already Protestant.
no, that's a good point. All right, but like but also we felt like if the like inhabitants were not like using the land properly in our views, and like we got like
A
take it
U.S.
over.
Supreme Court decision actually stated that outright, saying
Yeah.
if the inhabitants of the land are not making use of the land properly, then it is uninhabited.
Which gives us a reign to like settle those places as were and but like the founding fathers were all slave owners. The
Well, not
only
all of
founding
them. There were some who were not, but
yes.
and some of them were actually opposed to slavery. Ben Franklin and one other, I think.
Yes, Willis. I completely agree with you on that.
Yes, exactly.
Also,
Dan
I mean,
also
blaming
brought-
the Jews has been a popular conspiracy theory going back centuries. So,
yes,
Yep.
Because of the Jews being the bankers, as it were. And
well,
that goes
to push back on
well,
that,
actually, it goes
most Jews
further
weren't
than
bankers.
that.
Most bankers weren't Jews.
right. Money
banks-
lenders, I think.
Yes.
No, further back than that. It was because the Jews were blamed for the crucifixion of Jesus.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
a good point.
which
yeah.
means that blame it on the Jews actually goes back to the 2nd century A.D. and the Gospel of John. John, the first
Yep.
recorded anti-Semitic Christian.
Thank
He
you,
wasn't written by
John.
But
Yeah. Sure. Is
I
well,
prefer the John who wrote Revelations. He was clearly tripping his face off.
I think he was being very allegorical so that the Romans wouldn't know that he was talking about Rome.
Yeah,
Like the
it
seven-headed
was a
beast has the 7 hills of Rome, right? Things like that.
Yep. It was a different John from the John who wrote the Gospel as
Yeah,
well.
the Gospel of John was not written by John. It might have been
Oh,
written by
no,
a guy
no,
named
yeah.
John, but
Yeah.
actually, I think it was no,
Yes.
because a lot of what I know about the Bible I got from people like Richard Carrier, and I no longer trust him to tell the truth. So I don't know that he says
yeah,
that it should have
Willis,
been
they
the
did.
book of Lazarus, but
Crucifixion was actually a form of execution used by the Roman Empire against traitors against the Roman Empire.
yes, and the way John got around that is by making Pontius Pilate even weaker and wishier-washier than the other Gospels would
Yeah.
claim as, and having the
Yeah.
Jews specifically as a community call for Jesus' blood.
Yeah.
So basically, he did everything he could to change the story to shift the blame onto the Jews.
Yeah.
The Gospel of John was written for a very pro-Roman audience, is the
Right.
understanding I have. And unlike the other Gospels, he refers to the Jews collectively as a group far more often, and often in a negative context.
Yeah.
And that's right. Each of the gospels were like written for a different sort of like audiences, which is why the like virgin birth was only appeared in two of the gospels.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think it's in John. It might not be in John. I don't know. But yeah, the author of Mark was writing that for it apparently for a very mystical thing. He's writing this meta parable. This is how we do the Jesus worship thing. And then the
Yeah.
author of Matthew came along and said, "You made some mistakes. This is very Jewish now." And then the author of Luke came along and said, "Yeah, you don't have to be a Jew to be a Christian."
It's John Hancock, John Adams, John Lennon, John the Baptist, John the Baptist, John the like. I don't even know what that is.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Again, like our friend Joanna Roberts, who's like big and bold in the charity links off page, so like I'm pretty sure around she always needs money, especially towards the end of the month. She always needs money, as it were. But she said that like she was born after John Lennon died. Basically, after
Good grief.
after her mother like gave birth to Joanna Roberts, and it was on the news reports and the breaking news in the hospital that someone shot John Lennon. So Joanna Roberts like says that like because John Lennon died, Joanna Roberts can live, and so the world was better instantly because of that.
I remember being quite upset because the press in the UK, the media in the UK, made much more fuss about Lennon dying than they did about Bob Marley dying, and I thought Bob Marley was a far more important musician, to be quite honest.
I think I can agree with you there, because like I think even I guess like now it's because it's like that'd be a good question. Is like, hello Groundhog Fool who falls in
Hey,
the chat. How you
Groundhog.
doing?
Well, also, John Lennon was assassinated in the street.
No,
Bob Marley had
No,
cancer.
he died from lead poisoning. Get it right.
But Bob Marley just had cancer. So, I mean, I think the shock element. Hey, Groundhog.
Yeah, no.
I think the shock element is what made it like the news of like that John Lennon dying as opposed to Bob Marley dying more impactful in the world. Why? Well,
Yeah.
like the pack on music, I think I will agree with you that like Bob Marley probably have a much more impact on the music as well. I think nowadays like younger people would know more of like Bob Marley than would the John Lennon as were, because like a couple other than like I mentioned a few other songs of John Lennon. People know John Lennon more for the Beatles, and there's the argument there about like how good is the Beatles music as a word. Can't argue about the impact of the Beatles music, but they were also stealing black people's music too.
Yeah. And I mean, I think with the Beatles, though, somebody, regardless of whether the Beatles are come into existence or not, somebody would, their type of music would have happened anyway.
Yeah,
they were
that
pop-
argument there.
They were really good pop artists, but they were still pop artists.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. Even though they would like do the like go off and like do studio albums and go on drugs and then like make Yellow Submarines, and I can like their music too, but it's just like
they were interesting and they did some interesting explorations, but I don't know how innovative they were. I don't know too much about the Beatles, so I shouldn't talk. But I'm a white guy, so damn it, I'm gonna.
Yeah, yeah, it's good fun. But also, I should have also remember to iterate that, like, yeah, John Lennon is not like a great person, asshole. He beat his wife.
I was unaware.
At least that's what I remember as well. Let's see. So, what else is there to look chat about? Talk about. I think I'll go mention something going back to like the article I posted way up there in the. Well actually, I'll mention that Will said I'm still not sure about like communism, but I know I'm not that capitalism. Well, that's fine if you don't know, not sure about like communism. You can come here to learn about communism, and I'll try my best to like at least I will try my best to at least inform you why I'm a communist. Well, Will, if you probably not heard me say this before, this is something I mentioned about communism, which actually I got from David Graeber in his book Debt to 5,000 Years, and it is mentioned in chapter 5, Everyday Communism. We are all communists to each other. Because, Will, if you're still here, think about this situation, like at a workplace. One person says, hey, can you hand me that wrench? And the other person says, here, yeah, sure, here you go. That's communism right there. We all kind of have like a baseline communism that
We're all
kind of like
communists
shows.
in our private lives. Yeah.
Yes, that social interaction, because that's it's like here you go, here's that wrench. That's communist way to do it, because the capitalist way to do that interaction would be like, that'll be $5, sir, or what's in it for me, as it were. Where it's just like, instead of like being communist, and it'd be like exchange, as it were, or the other kind of the transaction that Debacles mentioned in that chapter of Death for 5,000 Years, hierarchy, words and words, where you pay tribute to like someone else, as well. Again, Dave Graver goes in greater detail and that sort of things, but like that's one way of how like many of us are communists in our own ways. As someone who lives in Virginia, which is one of the Confederate states and home of the capital, yeah, exactly. John Brockman's in South Carolina, so like, yeah. I'm in the hippy dippy Washington State near Seattle, as it were. I feel that the Confederate flag and the Confederacy generals is a part of Southern history that should not be glorified, it should not be celebrated. Oh yes, they're just like.
There are things you can love about the South. Mint juleps, iced tea, fried chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Notice it's mostly food, and a lot of it is by black people.
Yeah.
Music.
Oh yeah.
Amazing music. Soul food.
Yes.
Barbecue. A lot of things to love about the South. The Confederacy is not one of them.
Yes.
Our politics
yes.
and our religions are not good.
Oh yeah, that kind of like a division will that like you're not true Southerner because you're a Northern Virginian, as it were, which is why the whole split of like West Virginia was actually made. The whole reason that was like the another state was kind of made was that kind of split. If I remember correctly, I might be correct on that. But yeah, it's just like but also like the Haitian Revolution. I think that was I brought up in much in maybe earlier in chat this word. Yeah, that's why the South was like had all those like the rules that they had. Why they wanted like the Second Amendment as they did. Why like they like had like slave patrols as it were, because they saw the Haitian Revolution happen not that long ago, and they're like, oh fuck, that could happen here. It's like we better like arm ourselves and like make sure we really like scare them so they don't rise up and revolt, as it were.
And they still have that mentality even now.
True, yeah. Which is just why they have like the laws against like protesters, as it is too. Groundhog said, I haven't heard much about like Bob Murray, but I have heard he was anti-birth control. Oh,
yes,
okay.
he was, because he was Rastafarian.
Oh, okay. Hey, remember? Go ahead.
Yeah. Miners unions.
Marley brought Rastafarianism to the attention of the world. Before then, it was a very, very minority sort of. Nobody knew anything about it. Oh yeah,
but people are
people
aware
actually, yeah, people are more aware of it now than they were before Marley.
That's a good point, Groundhog. You're a true Southerner in that you're far into the Southern Hemisphere.
Yes.
Being
Nice.
Miners unions. That's a good point. Oh,
although that is more Appalachia than the South. I think we can make
that's a good
between
point.
Those two.
There were still like that miners' strike that like happened this year or attempted this year in Alabama. So it's like there's still like
well, remember Appalachia is the Appalachian Mountains, where there was that slavery, and that extends all the way down into the Ozarks and so on.
I forgot about that.
So it is a distinct culture, and usually riven with poverty.
Is not sure about the like how to solve the gun violence problem, but making sure only police have guns is not the right path. Okay, I will. Yeah,
notice that banning guns is usually a liberal position rather than a leftist position.
Yes, exactly.
There are a lot of leftist gun clubs.
Yes, the John Prowling Gun Club. There's the Socialist Rifle Association, as were
Redneck Revolutionaries.
There was a lot of labor movements also kind of like had to like arm themselves because like they would be it was like I think in Colorado the National Guard was like sent in to break up a labor strike.
Cops
in the
have
history.
always been sent in to break up labor strikes. That's
yes.
After we ended chattel slavery officially and replaced it with Jim Crow slavery. That was the primary role of the police, was going in and busting up unions.
That was the primary role of the modern police force that was created in the UK too, as well, to like break up labor unions as well, or labor disputes.
Yeah, kind of.
Mhm.
It was more to do with the Corn Laws and
Oh yeah.
the Land Reform Act,
Hmm.
which basically
Was that
gave
the fencing,
landowners.
the enclosures?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the Closure Act. Yeah. Hmm.
So
Yeah,
forcing
the
people off their
Enclosure
land
Act.
and into cities where they could be
Uh,
employed.
yeah, yeah. And it was done partly to force people into cities, but also partly to ensure that the income from raising livestock was only accrued by the
The
well-off.
wealthy. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep. Exactly.
Who would have thought, eh? Who would have
Yep.
thought?
And then there's what the British did to the Irish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
yep. Some truly horrifying things we did to the Irish.
Led directly to
I
the goddamn potato famine.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Uh,
we
hey,
we we were disgusting, really.
yeah.
Probably was.
We
That's the one where Churchill sent the police in to attack miners in, well, Ludlow.
Yep, the
Probably.
1926 general strike. My
Mhm.
my
Well done, David. Okay, I gotta love that one.
Okay, yeah, we're keeping that one. Right. Okay, that's a clever one. And that's a good point. Like Groundhog. Oh, some there's are true. Some there's is all arguing who is like the more northern than the others. Well, Metro has a speed. He's actual northern.
Oh, Ludlow's in Colorado. I was thinking of, let's see, somewhere in not Portland. The Portland of England. Wales.
Yes. But no, the Ludlow, Colorado is the one I'm thinking of with like the strike there that the actual army came in and to like stop is where I think drop a bomb on too is where.
And then there were miners in West Virginia. They went on strike, and again, they brought in
the
an
Pinkertons.
army of cops in Pinkertons.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Pinkertons are still around.
Yep, the Pinkertons are still around. They were support of rainbow capitalism in Pride Month last year.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for Pinkertons in the mid-90s
Bastard.
as a yeah, absolutely. It was just an ordinary security company. We were paid crap wages because,
Of course.
and they were taken over by
Securities AS, I think it was.
Securitas.
AB. Securitas AB.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was. Yes, Pinkerton's God takes me back.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We got a few minutes left of the pod of the stream, as it were. So I guess it'll be a good time to do like a call for like final thoughts as for our final points, because like I'm trying to remember is like anything else I wanted to like mention as it were.
I just wanted to rag on David Silverman a little bit. Didn't have anything else to say.
Mm-hmm. As mentioned politics about like the conservatives and what they were like doing, what's that meme it is.
Ground up, I completely agree.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think okay. No, I think I'm like I think I'm spent. I think I'm like a good call it here. So like so Metro, thank you so much for coming in,
Oh, don't
dropping
apologize.
by. Oh, no problem, Will.
No problem.
Yes, I mean this
This is all just us shooting the shit anyway. We don't have a serious plan.
I barely like prepare for these sort of things. I did research. I looked for a couple of articles that like mentioned like today.
All I did was look up the tweets that I got into it with David Silverman over. That's the limit.
So Will, do know that like we do this at every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern as well, so you can like set a reminder to remember as well. So 7 p.m. This should be 7 p.m. UTC if I'm correct on that. Still, yeah, that's pretty much how the show goes. We just shoot this shit for like
and occasionally
hour
mute
and a half.
David for bad puns.
Yes, we occasionally meet David for bad puns. You can ask questions about like anarchism, socialism, feminism.
We'll do our best to answer. Just remember that you get 10 leftists in a room, you're going to have 50 opinions.
Yes. You get 10 leftists in the room, you get 50 opinions. That's more, yes.
We have two minds about everything, and then we have two minds about that.
Yes, 2 minds about like everything. Metro, you don't have any plug other than the decency of humanity, then, do you?
No, not at all.
Except for Liverpool
Wow, that is some
United.
real dedication. Unless you have like work or something, Groundhog.
No. I think Groundhog just does wake up this early to like come here whenever she can. So I am Samurai Geek on Twitch, Samurai Geek on Twitter, Samurai Geek on YouTube. I should upload like more videos onto my YouTube channel. They're ready to go. I can like hit publish on them.
Hold on a second. 5:15? It's 3:30 here where I am. How are you 15 minutes off? That bothers me. I don't like it. You're wrong. You're morally wrong.
Time zones. And they're half the hour time zones. There's half an hour difference. I don't know why either, as it were. John Brockman,
That's usually to be a compromise for a very large region. So.
Okay, yeah, that probably is. And John Brockman, you're part of another podcast, aren't you?
Indeed I am. Dungeons and Debacles, where we play D&D. And it's a lot of fun. Entirely different. We just got our asses handed to us by an evil paladin of Lolth. Like,
wow.
she killed two of us and then said, you guys are boring. I'm going to kill the queen.
Yay, regicide!
I mean, yeah, she's on the right on that score, but the fact that she's also starting a hate plague to murder a civilization.
Okay. Down with the monarchy, but not with everyone else, as it were. And again, we not again
kill the monarchy, not the monarch.
Yes, exactly. Because like the guillotines, it's just a meme. We're not really actually serious about that, unless they don't want to like disown the monarchy, as it were, or like just join the regulars and the plebs.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, maybe kill the queen. You know, she's maybe kills a lot of the. Apparently, they're incredibly racist. So you know, maybe
again, Starfleet Regulation 46A, no uncoded messages.
But Lennon was wrong to kill the kids. I mean, I understand why he did it. You know, there would have been counter-revolutionaries trying to blah 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 blah. But still, it was wrong.
Lenin did some bad things. Yes, and fuck Stalin. Let's just like say that. Fuck Stalin. Screw you, genocidal denial, like leftists. Anyway, so and one final pitch: charitylinks.page is down below in the.
There are a lot of comrades out there who are in need of help.
So take care, everyone. Stay safe. Practice self-care. Do all the proper things. Hydrate. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night, folks. Have a good week.